You just pour fuel on the fire. We mail 30,000 pieces a month. We do 10,000 texts a month. I mean, we do a lot.
Okay, Pat.
Lending is like one of my favorite things to do. And I'm now moving into the land lending space, Chris and Aaron. So there's a whole world of land funders. These are people that will come in and let's say, Aaron, you're in Joe McCall's group, right? And you guys you're working on land. I don't know if if you're wholesaling or you're flipping or you're buying and holding or subdividing. There's a lot of different strategies, but if you're just starting, you're probably just sending offers and try to convert contracts, right? But when let's say you send an offer for 250,000 and it's worth 500,000, like that is a gold piece of business. But what happens if the seller says, "Hey, Aaron, I know what you're trying to do. That's an assignable contract, and you're going to have to buy it in all cash." What you don't want to do, Aaron, is you don't want to say, "Oh, shoot, I can't," right? So what you want to do is you want to establish some relationships with land funders, right? Somebody who funds on land. Now, the typical lender doesn't lend on land because it's not asset backed. Well, the asset is land, but people don't really understand land. It's raw land. There's nothing you can do with it. There's no house on it. It's not as liquid as maybe a single family home is. So lenders are a little more, they shy away from that a little bit more because they don't understand it, right? A confused mind says no. So true. But because I'm a land flipper, I understand land. I'm good. So I'm actually funding myself and my partner in my land deal. We're funding a $250,000 purchase of a 200-acre parcel where it's worth double the money. It's probably going to take a couple of months, right? Because we're going to parcel it off and sell it off. So there's some real power, right? Like once you get kind of moving in that area. But for those of us that are in the land business, we have to establish relationships with land funders. And Aaron, just so you know, like land funders are a little different. They take title to the property. So if you lock it up under contract, you're going to assign it to your land funder. You're going to make sure your paperwork is really tight. And then you're going to participate in more of the equity than the land funder. So like the way I do it, it's typically 70-30. You take 70% of the profit, I take 30 within 2 months. And then there's a sliding scale, right? The equity changes as time goes on. But Susan, that's a great space to be in because the return, it's an equity return. Now, you want to be careful, right? Because like, what if the land doesn't sell at all? And then you're stuck with this piece of land. So you have to really be able to comp the land or find a land investor who's really, got a keen eye for what sells and what doesn't sell. I mean, look, you can look on the market and see what's selling. It's not that hard.
Right.
But lending, by the way, I'll just say, Susan, it's been amazing. Like I make good
Well,
money in lending.
I absolutely want to do that. I just got to, figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And the key really is, right, the deal, because you're lending on the deal. People will say we're going to, carefully pick the person. You want to make sure you don't pick a schmuck or somebody who is right not going to follow through on their obligations, but your paperwork will protect you. But always be prepared. Like always know, like you are loaning to own. Like literally in your mind, you must be thinking, if this person craps out on me and I have to take over the property, am I prepared to take over the property, right? You just have to know that. And you have to know, this is very important, you guys, because I do lend to friends of mine in my investment communities. They are my friends. They are wonderful humans. I really enjoy them and I hug them when I see them, but I will take their property from them if they default.
yeah,
Those are two different things.
Yeah.
Friend, business deal.
Yeah. So in reverse, you said that one of your first lenders was a friend of yours. So I came across this stellar wholesale deal and they had to have 350 cash like right now so that they could close on another house. And they were willing to take it at a $200,000 ARV, like cut, because they didn't have time to put it on the MLS. So I hoteled it. I was like, I'm going to buy it from you cash. I can't not get this deal, but I didn't have the 350 to give him. So I went out searching for a PML, and I had several people interested, and I was telling one of my best friends about it. And he's like, wait a minute, well, why aren't I in on this deal? And at first I was like, no, 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 I'm not doing business with you. You're my best friends. We're not going to go down this road. And he's like, well, let's talk about it. The long and the short of it is he said, I feel like if we don't do this deal together, I'm going to lose out and I don't want to miss this opportunity. He's like, I've been watching you for the last 6 months. You're killing it, whatever. I trust you. And I said, worst case is you get the house. It's a move-in ready house. There's nothing to be done to it. And you own a property in Nashville. And we turned around and sold it, and I gave him 25% equity. And we made 175,000 on the deal in less than 60 days. So he
That
was
is,
thrilled. Now he's like looking to lend to me more.
yes.
And I was just like, fingers crossed that I don't blow this up and our friendship goes south. But that's what I thought too, is I just have to know that it's business and it's their deal if I mess it up. So
That's an amazing story. I love to hear that. So you've warmed him up because he's had a home
oh,
run.
he's like itching to give me his money right now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
wanted to do this other land deal, the one that's in the bankruptcy, but he doesn't want to wait for the guy to die. And I said, no, that's part of the deal. You gotta say
Yeah.
yes to that. So it's
Yeah.
not gonna work
So
for him.
you need to find another one now for him to have another home run, because the
Right.
more times, right, somebody lends to you and they have that experience and it's a good experience, the more and more comfortable they get. So that's amazing.
Okay.
I will tell you one other thing that I do. Sometimes people will come to me and say, like, you seem really trustworthy and like I want to lend to you because I'm a new lender and I've seen you're a borrower and a lender, right? They see me doing a lot of different things. Can I do like my first deal with you? And I will make sure that I find a really good deal that's going to give them really good return. That's like super, super, super low risk. And it's a small amount of money. I mean, it's like, I almost don't need them, but I do
Right.
it to help them, to show them what's possible. Because once you've gone through the paperwork and the whole thing, like end to end, then they go, oh, now I know how to do it. Now you've turned someone who was terrified before to lend, right? Maybe they only want to do, I had a gal within the sub two group who said, I have $18,000. I said, I'll take your 18. It's a super small amount, whatever, it's fine. And you'll get it back in 3 months. And she got it back and she got her return and she was like, oh, now she felt comfortable. Like she was able to, like, okay, I know how to do these deals now. And then what happens is you've helped somebody get over their fear in a super low risk environment, and they will be your lender forever. Right? You can
And then
go to
you
them
just
and say,
build the
hey, I have
network.
an opportunity. Yeah. And you build a network and you've created
Yeah.
goodwill and you've helped somebody. It's scary. I remember when I was like pushing the wire button on my first, I was like, and I'm pretty comfortable moving money around, but I was like, oh God, hope I didn't miss anything, like, moving a large amount of money. But
Yes.
then, you realize like, okay, there's certain things you need to check and make sure that it's all buttoned up. But then, Susan, like you're in mixing it up and doing all these different things, which I think is amazing. And what I did when I, started to look at the world of investing, I taste and sampled everything. And Christopher, this is how I ended up in land. I did everything. I'm a lender, I'm a borrower, short-term rentals, duplexes, long-term rentals, wholetails, subtails, like all with other people's money, right? I'm going to borrow, I'm going to lend, I'm going to do it all. Blah. And then my girlfriend came to me, Imelda, and she said, what do you think about land? And I was like, I am too busy doing all these other things. And she was like, too late. I joined Joe McCall's course and like, you're in. And I was like, what? And then Aaron, you'll appreciate this. It was like, okay. So we jumped right in, right with 2 feet and started drinking through the fire hose and watching all of Joe McCall's content. And then when Joe says, because he has this, land course, Joe says like send offers. And Aaron, you're probably I don't know where you are in Joe's course. Like he's like send offers. Well, he's serious. Like you can't get contracts if you don't send offers. And so once we understood what the stats were, okay, guys, every 35 good quality offers results in 1 contract. Once you have the confidence and understand those stats, right? You just pour fuel on the fire. We mail 30,000 pieces a month. We do 10,000 texts a month. I mean, we do a lot.